Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about frontal bone. So let's start our topic with introduction. Frontal bone is one of the unpaired cranial bone of human skull. It is located at the front of cranium. It plays a vital role in protecting the brain and forming the framework of forehead, eye socket and nasal cavity. Being a single bone, it occupies a central position and articulated by several other bones of skull. As you can see in diagram, you can see it is articulated with many other bones and it is single unpaired bone of cranium. Location and structure of frontal bone. Frontal bones lie at the anterior part of cranium. It consists of vertical portion that is called a squamous part and that form the forehead and a horizontal portion that is called as orbital part and that contribute to the roof of orbit and nasal cavity. At birth, it develops in two halves which fuse during early childhood at the metopic suture. In some adults, this suture may persist. Parts of frontal bone include squamous part, orbital part, and nasal part. Now let's talk about these parts one by one. So first part is squamous part. It forms the forehead. It contains the frontal eminences, that is rounded elevations on either side, which are more prominent in children and female. It includes the supraorbital margin forming the upper edge of the orbits. It contains the supraorbital foramen or notch which transmit nerves and blood vessels to the forehead. Next part of frontal bone is orbital part. It forms the roof of orbits. It contains depression for lacrimal gland and groove for blood vessels. Next part is nasal part. It is situated between the orbits as you can see in diagram. It articulates with the nasal bone and forms part of nasal roof. The special feature of frontal bones include frontal sinuses. There are two air-filled cavities that are located inside the frontal bone above the orbit. They lighten the weight of skull and contribute to the resonance of the voice. Then it has glabella, that is a smooth area between the eyebrows, located just above the nasal bridge, as you can see this in the diagram. Then it has superciliary arches that are bony ridges above the orbits that are more prominent in males. Articulations of frontal bone. Frontal bone articulates with 12 bones of skull and they include cranial bones. It articulates with two parietal bone, one sphenoid bone and one ethmoid bone of cranium. Then it also articulates with facial bones that include two nasal bones, two zygomatic bone, two maxilla and two lacrimal bones. So it articulates with all these bones on the whole forming 12 bones articulation. Functions of frontal bone include first is protection as it forms the anterior part of skull and safeguard the frontal lobes of brain. Second function of frontal bone is support as it contributes to the formation of forehead, orbits and nasal cavity. Third function is facial structure as the frontal bone gives shape and prominence to the upper face area. Fourth function of frontal bone is air passage regulation as it houses the frontal sinuses which are involved in air filtration and resonance. Fifth function of frontal bone is attachment as it provides anchoring points for muscles of facial expression. Conclusion of this lecture video. Frontal bone is a single, strong cranial bone that plays an essential role in structure and protection of the skull. It contributes to the forehead, eye sockets, and nasal cavity. It also houses the frontal sinuses and also articulates with several other bones. Its importance lies only in protection of brain, but it also in forming the characteristic appearance of human face. So this was all about frontal bone. Hopefully you liked the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment. Thank you for watching.